Content warning. The stories and themes shared throughout this podcast may contain themes that can be distressing for you. If needed, please pause and do what you need to do to take care of yourself. If needed, please reach out to a mental health professional for support.
Welcome back to another episode of Resilient AF with Blair and Alana, but hold the Alana and bring in Helga. I am so excited for this conversation. Helga Schoening is a mother of two amazing kids, an RN, an intuitive healer, and a hypnotherapy intern. She loves to travel, write, spend time in nature, and go on adventures. And I met her while doing some of those things, traveling and going on adventures. We met in January 2025 in Costa Rica. It was at the time my new friend and we were getting a ride up to like a festival conference retreat where I was a speaker. And the car we were in, and it was a very bumpy Costa Rican back road, their tire blew out. And so me and my friend Suska were standing on the side of the road, and here comes this girl on her quad. She stopped. She's like, "Do you want to ride?" And so Helga saved me and Suska, and all three of us rode up to this event on top of a mountain on a quad. So Helga basically is a shiro. And throughout those few days, we had many times connecting in the pool and to the sunset and dancing. And we just learned we had so much in common, and we developed a really beautiful friendship. And when she learned what we were doing with the Global Resilience Project, she felt like she wanted to be involved, and we knew she'd be a good fit. So welcome to the podcast, Helga.
Thank you. Yes, it's such an honor to be here.
Yeah, I mean, your story, like you have a lot going on in your life, and especially because you have kids and you're an intuitive healer and you're learning hypnotherapy and you're an RN. Your schedule's packed, and we bonded over like the terminal diagnosis of our parents and family members. And you shared that both your mom and sister had a terminal cancer diagnosis in the same period. So would you be open to sharing your story?
Yes, absolutely. So my sister was diagnosed with breast cancer. She was only 47 years old, and it was stage 4 at the time. And she started treatment right away, and it's a progressive disease. So they started her on oral chemo, and she was managing. She was functioning. She was working. She was, living her best life, trying to, be as normal as she could. And somewhere in there, I would say probably a year and a half into her diagnosis, suddenly my mother started having some GI issues and didn't think much of it, and then started rapidly losing weight. So, in the course of the time, it was like October, she started doing some tests, and come December, early January, she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and it was metastasized. It was everywhere. And, we were told she only had a few months to live. Well, she tried chemo as well, and she didn't respond. Initially, she responded to it, but she got very sick from it. So she ended up passing away in April, in just 4 months from her diagnosis. It was just a very rough and traumatic time because it was the year before the pandemic. And so my sister was already facing her diagnosis, and my mother, coming ill out of nowhere. It was a lot on my sister.
Yeah.
And all of us, really. So my sister ended up, her disease started progressing towards the end of 2020. And it metastasized to her brain and spine. And I lost her probably about a little over a year and a half after my mom. So it was a lot in a short period of time. But they were both fighters.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Helga, what's your sister's name?
Jan.
And what's your mom's name?
Blanca.
Well, may their memory be a blessing.
Thank you. Yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like to have your sister having this terminal diagnosis and then it's like, your mom comes in, gets sick, and then dies before your sister.
Hmm.
It's like this compound trauma and heartbreak and pancreatic cancer. I mean, I didn't know much about it, but that's what we think took my mother too.
Hmm.
Learning she had it potentially, like learning she had cancer, and they didn't get an official diagnosis because she died 3 weeks later. And like the biopsy, like they came to give her a biopsy to like give her an official diagnosis, but like she died
Hmm.
that night. So,
Oh my goodness.
and I just like pancreatic cancer, like I don't know, I didn't know much about it. And like my first experience with a family member dying of cancer was my aunt died when I was 20 and she was 52 or 54 and she died pretty fast from ovarian cancer. So I started learning lots about ovarian cancer. Obviously, I'm not like in my free time researching cancer, but
Yeah.
after my mom died, I started to study pancreatic cancer a bit and really like most people don't catch it until it's too late.
No, because it's a kind of a silent killer. There's little to no symptoms until it's already metastasized pretty extensively.
Yeah.
So I remember getting the diagnosis and talking to the radiologist. And as he was like telling me all um, he was just kind of reading from the CT scan. And I was writing down everything that I could. And I remember exactly where I was.
Mhm.
Um, and I just put my pen down and stopped writing because I knew that um, there was nothing you could do. Um, Being a nurse in radiology, I had access to everything. Saw I was actually um, tracking their prognosis or their diagnoses. So I was pretty much equipped to, I guess, be prepared and also, help them and encourage them along the way. So um,
Wait, so
I,
you had access to their scans and reports? Like you can actually see it, like see the cancer?
yeah. So
Whoa.
strangely enough, I feel like it's very strange where you end up in life. But I was in interventional radiology for several years, and we actually did a lot of procedures where biopsies were a part of it. And so I worked for radiologists that my mom and sister gave me permission to see their scans. So I was very very involved from like behind the scenes as well, and talking to their oncologists and everything. So um, yeah, it was a wild ride.
I mean, thank you for sharing all that. And like, it's so heartbreaking. And this is such a unique situation where you're not just like the primary caregiver and the advocate as the daughter and sister, but you're also like, you have your hand on the other side where you have these connections and abilities to understand what's actually happening.
Mhm.
Like that must have been like, is that better? Is that like, I mean, I don't know. Like, how do you go about like looking at a scan and seeing what's happening in the disease and knowing because of your medical background what's coming? Like how do you prepare yourself and how do you step out of the medical hat into the like sister daughter hat?
Yeah, that was the trying thing about it, was because I was both, and I feel like at some points I was mostly the medical advocator.
Mm.
Um, so when it was time that it was towards the end, it was very difficult um, to watch because being in my profession, we're always finding ways to save lives. Um, and hospice is not something that I was prepared for.
Or was your mom and sister in hospice at the same time?
No, no, my mother passed close to 2 years before my sister.
Yeah. Well, that's a long battle with cancer for your sister.
It was 3.5 years. I think that one of the beneficial things to being a nurse, I guess, during that course of their treatments was that I was able to understand everything that was happening. And also, I know that everything was done that was possible. She, you know, was an applicant to clinical trials and tried multiple avenues, and she really did fight all the way until the end. She was young, so she was you know a candidate, a better
That's
candidate to do so.
that's so hard. Tell us about your sister. Was she your older sister, younger sister? What was she like?
She was my older sister, um, by close to about 3 years, 3 years and a few months. Um, she was my best friend, or she is my best friend,
Hmm.
and so we laughed a lot together. We had a lot in common. Our childhood was pretty fun. My parents were immigrants from Czechoslovakia, Czech Republic, so we had a lot of comedy in our life. We
Yeah.
it's really tough not having her around because yeah, we laughed a lot.
Did she have any children?
No, she didn't have any children. She had dog children.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't even imagine. I mean, it's interest. Do you have other siblings?
No. So
Yeah.
it was just four of us. All my other relatives are scattered throughout Czech
Hmm.
Republic and some in Croatia. So
Yeah.
really, I kind of felt orphaned after all that.
Um, it's such a like it's like the ultimate feeling of abandonment when someone that you love so deeply dies. And then it's not like, oh, they're choosing to leave you, but it's this feeling of like being an untethered balloon floating in the wind. And
Mhm.
do you think, because you were so intertwined, like, because medical stuff and you went through those two losses, like, how has that impacted your career in the medical space? Because I know, like, obviously reading your bio, you're doing some things that seem a little different than interventional radiology, whatever, is that what it was you said? Interventional?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So not very long after Jan died, I started applying to as many jobs as possible if I could. And I was still looking to be in nursing, but I needed to get out of the hospital at that point because it was a little traumatizing and
Just a little.
just a little.
Just a little.
And so, continuing to, see scans and deliver, not, we don't deliver the news, but we see it. And we have to walk into the room with that knowing and have a face, you know. And it was tough. I didn't want to be around um, cancer anymore. So I'm still in a radiology field, but now I'm in an outpatient center. So I'm out of the hospital. I used to be on call too. So throughout this chaos, I was taking call too. About 15 days a month, I was on call around the clock for emergencies. So I immediately wanted to get out of that. So now I'm in an outpatient center and I help patients with uh, kidney disease, and it's a little better.
Yeah. Well, like what a time, right? It's like you moved from cancer to kidney disease, and it's like the scale of like severity of
Yeah,
trauma.
I
But
mean,
also, like for you, that
that's
is
healthcare
trauma.
though, right?
And you said they both died before the pandemic?
My sister actually, so 2020, that's that was like my sister's last full year with us.
Wow. Right. So, and the pandemic started, who knows, like March or
And yeah.
and so you're a caregiver in the pandemic and a mental health medical health professional in the
Mhm.
pandemic. And this all happens like how did you navigate the aftermath of being so woven into like, oh my God, it's a pandemic and you were working in, medical and you just had two huge losses. Like how did you like protect your mental health or what did you do for your mental health? Or did you do anything for your mental health?
I didn't. I was in a state of constant fight or flight for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I think I just struggled to keep my head above water. I was just going, going, going. If somebody needed me here, I went there. If uh, needed to go to work, I went to work. Um, of course, I tried to take care of myself in between when I could. Trying church, trying counseling,
Mm-hmm.
um, trying different things, but always just kind of like I didn't even have time to take care of myself um, until things slowed down a little bit after I lost Jan. Um, that's when I really started doing work.
Yeah. What do you
And
think worked the best for you?
for me, the best was taking myself out of my normal day to day
Mm-hmm.
and starting to go on adventures.
Right?
Yeah.
Is there a specific adventure that comes to mind that you went on that you felt like it was kind of a shift in your healing?
So I talk about it in my story. Um, and it was, I went on my first solo trip to Costa Rica, and it changed my life, honestly. Um, so yeah, just going out into beautiful nature, um, and taking a long trip. I took as many PTO days as I could,
Yeah.
and I went on an extended trip. And when I got there, I just found a community where the people there were really into taking care of themselves as a lifestyle, as a normal lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very community based. And um, it was just, it was different. It was definitely different from the way we live in the US. And I tried different healing modalities. I was introduced to breath work, and we did yoga, contrast therapy, cold plunges,
Mm-hmm.
all of these things that regulate your nervous system and just make you feel better. And it was breath work was life changing for me, actually,
That's
um,
amazing.
because I feel like I had a realization or kind of like an awakening, if you could say, that um, when you're in fight or flight, you forget to breathe. So I feel like I was, excuse me, holding my breath for years.
And thank you for saying that because that's something that's so common. Like when you're, sometimes you don't even know you're in fight or flight, like you're just trying to survive and you're
Mm-hmm.
not fully breathing, but breath is life.
Yeah.
Breath is life. And it's a total grounding technique too when you do big, long, full breaths. And the fact that you were able to go on this magical trip and discover this community and tap into breath work is such a beautiful gift
Mm-hmm.
to find your breath again.
And what helped me calm myself to actually go on this retreat, I need to backpedal or backtrack a little
Yeah.
bit. Hypnotherapy, because hypnotherapy helped me because in your subconscious mind, you're just programmed to go on autopilot all the time.
Hmm.
And your subconscious mind is like almost 90% of how you're thinking. You have a critical mind that's only 12%, and that's your conscious mind. That's the mind that the part of your mind that when you're in therapy, you know what you need to do. You know what your issues are, and you talk about it, and you have to do certain exercises or whatnot. But then when you leave therapy, you automatically go into your habits
Hmm.
and kind of what you've programmed yourself to do, how you responded to things. And a lot of times when you're going through crises, um, it's not always positive, the things that you turn to. You turn to things to numb yourself, whether it be alcohol or I started smoking cigarettes. Like I was anything that I can grab a hold of to not think about what was actually happening,
Mhm.
I turned to. And it was survival. But in turn, I ended up making myself sick. So um, the journey to finding um, this like magical place where literally people from all over the world go to heal and want to live in a space where that's how way of life is, was just the biggest blessing that ever happened. And through hypnotherapy, I was able to release a lot of those negative things that were holding me back. All those things, like the negative self-talk, like, I can't do this. I can't, like, it just kind of like takes away that
Right.
negative
That's
attitude.
beautiful. That's beautiful. A lot of people walk through life with the glass half full, empty, and that negative attitude. And it's like the media, it's just like in our face about being negative. And it's like, what if we can show up differently, reframe how we do things, change the way we think, rewire our neural pathways? That's what like this whole community is all about. And hypnotherapy, I've actually never tried it, but I've heard amazing things. So maybe we should do some of
Yeah.
that together. Before we wrap up our interview, you're going to be featured in Resilient AF Skin Deep Stories. And
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about your tattoo.
So my tattoo is I got it the same time that after I was at the breathwork retreat. Um, Normally, I have a few tattoos, and I almost always put a lot of thought into my tattoos.
Yeah.
Like my daughter and I have the same one, and we planned it for like 2 years. But after this retreat, I felt so alive and awakened and good that I needed to do it. Like I just needed to um, put the words on on myself to remind myself, just breathe. So the placement is kind of inconspicuous, but it's inside of my arm. But I can always kind of like look down at it and like reference and remember that time, because it was a very key moment of transformation, and it was the most spontaneous tattoo I've ever gotten, and I have no regrets.
It's spontaneous, but super meaningful.
Yes,
And
yeah,
I think it's so beautiful and
and
such an
it's so
important
healing.
reminder. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
love it. Costa Rica is very special. I
Hmm.
see why you keep going back.
Yes, and yes, yeah, that was an amazing encounter. I'll never forget that too. Two damsels in distress, and with
Like
your suitcases on a mountain. I'm just like, oh my God, you guys have arrived.
we were like hiking up this mountain. Yeah, it's wild. Okay, so as we wrap up, what is one piece of advice you have for someone who's going through something similar, like losing two very important people at the same time, or navigating like the compound, you know, trauma that you did? Like what guidance or what advice do you wish someone told you or that you want to share with others?
I would say that in hindsight, I wish I would have accepted help
Mm.
more, um, instead of kind of isolating, like possibly, forcing yourself to, allow people in your life to be there for you when they ask. And also, you know, try and take yourself out of your normal day to day, because your normal day to day included talking to those loved ones on a regular basis, and that's not going to happen. So if you have the means to travel, or pick up new hobbies, just try doing different things, changing up your routine, and definitely try, multiple different um, healing therapies that help regulate your nervous system. Because talk therapy is great; it's been there forever, but you have to do other things.
Yeah, well, you need a lot of tools to build a house. So,
Yes, yes, it's definitely not a single one
yeah.
thing. But if I could go back in time, I probably would have not isolated myself and try to. I was in survivor's guilt for quite some time, and I didn't let anybody in. I felt like because for the longest time I was handling it so much on my own
Hmm.
that I continued to do that. Like I'm good. I'm done. I'm on it. I'm working. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. So um, yeah.
And it's a good reminder, like, you are not alone. And I love this, like, accept help, use the tools that are out there, or, learn about new tools. Don't
Hmm.
forget to breathe.
Yes, the breathing. Definitely. I think
Yeah.
I always remember too to start out my day with some deep breathing. And even like a single long breath hold makes a big difference. You just feel an instant calm. So it's something that's out there quite a bit too, breath work and breath work retreats. So,
Yeah, I think yeah, I like breath work. I mean, just come back to your breath. We have it, right? We have it within, and there's lots of free guided breath work on YouTube and Spotify. I think Spotify. That's
yeah,
amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on this podcast. And I really enjoyed this conversation, and I can't wait for people to read your story in the book, Skin Deep Stories, Resilient AF Skin Deep Stories. It comes out December 5th. And you can read all about Helga and her story there. So thank you so much.
awesome. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for tuning in to another episode of Resilient AF. Remember, it is okay to not be okay. You don't have to go through life alone. We are here to hold your hand, be that lighthouse in that storm, be the light at the end of that tunnel. And just remember, friends, you are resilient AF. Welcome back to another episode of Resilient AF with Blair and Alana. But hold the Alana and let's bring in BB. So, before I read her bio, I'm going to read only some of it. I need to tell you, like, how small of a world it is. We have a lot in common. Yes, we're both very proud to be Canadian. We live in different parts of Canada. But actually, how did you hear about me?
Well, you actually followed my little old tiny Instagram account when I very first started it. And I was like, who is this? And I saw you. And then I was like, oh, follow back. And then I happened to be scrolling through my feed when you posted about looking for authors for your next book. And I signed up immediately. I was probably the first one. I just need.
I love that. Right. Okay. So, first of all, marketing lesson, social media works.
Yeah.
But so we met, but she says to me on a call, BB goes, we know some of the same people, or we have a mutual connection. And lo and behold, so I'm from Winnipeg. I was raised in the Jewish community and I went to Hebrew school and in elementary school and junior high. And one of my most favorite teachers, who I think just recently retired, but eventually she like moved into like leadership role in the Jewish education system out of Winnipeg to Alberta. And she was, I believe, my kindergarten teacher. And she's one of the two people that when I see her, she goes, Bela Dina. Like that's my Hebrew name, Bela Dina. And anyways, long story short, BB, you worked at the same, school as her. And it was just such a small world coincidence because like her presence and support and love for her job has always stuck with me because kindergarten was a long time ago. And like her daughter and my sister are friends and like there's just lots of cross connections. So I think I think it's just like so amazing that that happened because of me following you on Instagram, you following me back, you arranging a call, you bringing up this. So, really excited to introduce BB Gabriel. She's a proud Canadian, a master's level registered social worker, and an award winning author with a deep commitment to healing through storytelling. Drawing from her own lived experiences, BB writes powerful narratives that chart the journey from trauma to triumph, exploring the complexities of adversity, grief, and personal transformation. Her work centers on stories of survival and resilience, offering raw, honest reflections on overcoming life's most difficult challenges. She is so inspirational. She has a published book, and she is being featured in Resilient AF Skin Deep Stories, and her tattoo is the center of one of her many stories. So, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Well, tell me, what's the name of your book?
My book is called No Ordinary Love by BB Gabriel. That's important because there is another No Ordinary Love that was published like a month after mine, and that person is like a famous author. So I don't like not to take people away from them, but like I need it more.
I love that. We'll make sure the link is in the show notes along with, your Instagram handle and the rest of your bio. So let's talk about your tattoo. Tell us about your tattoo. When did you get it? Where did you get it? What does it mean?
Okay, so I got it June of 2022, so just over 3 years ago. It's my third tattoo that is meant to be a sister's tattoo. So I have two younger sisters, I'm the eldest, and our middle sister, Tara, was trying to convince myself and our little sister, Bryanne, to get sister tattoos. And Bryanne didn't have a tattoo on her body. I think I had one at the time. I don't remember. And Tara was just itching to get something that was meaningful to celebrate our lives as sisters. And Bryanne turned down the first two ideas. She really wanted something like super detailed, but like this big. And we're like, that's not how tattoos work. So Tara and I went ahead without her and we got our first two sister tattoos. And then the third one, I was writing my book, No Ordinary Love, and it came to me this idea to get, I'll just show it to you. So it's like supposed to be a heartbeat, which I'll explain, Three Sisters Mountains, which lives here in Alberta, and then another heartbeat. And the reason was that our little sister Bryanne was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. And from the time of her first symptom and going to the hospital, she only lasted 15 months. And so that's a super short amount of time period, but she never ever believed that she was not going to make it. And so I came up with this idea because the first part of the heartbeat was when Bryanne was first born. She was born extremely premature, like 26 weeks, I believe. And so she was in the hospital for the start of her life. And Tara and I were there standing beside her, loving her, supporting her. And then the Three Sisters Mountains are because they're here in our beautiful country of Canada. And they just kind of embody, they're the physical embodiment of us and our life together as sisters, the highs and the lows, the peaks and the valleys. And then the last heartbeat was to represent Tara and I with Bryanne again while she was fighting for her life. And unfortunately, Bryanne wasn't able, she didn't survive long enough to get the tattoo. And so Tara, sorry, I'm from Ontario. So Tara flew out here with Bryanne's husband and we all went to the mountains. And while Tara Lee and I got this tattoo, then my husband and Bryanne's husband went to the base of the mountains and scattered some of her ashes. Sorry.
You don't ever have to apologize. And may her memory be a blessing.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful way to honor her. And the idea came before she passed?
Yeah. Yeah. Just because it came before she passed, but while she was fighting. So it was like that lifeline again, right? Like
Yeah.
survival mode, like hospital treatments. And so, I mean, what Bryanne was very adamant from day one. My husband is a physician, and so we have a lot of access to some big brains and, and networking. And Bryanne was very adamant from day one that she wanted help as needed to understand what she was going through and to make informed choices. But she never wanted what she called a death date. She did not want to be given a timeline. And so literally until the night before, the afternoon before Bryanne died, she truly had no idea that she was going to die. Like she truly, with everything in her, thought that she would beat it. And so But because of my husband and the knowledge that the rest of us had, we knew she wasn't. We didn't know how long she would have, but we knew that this was terminal and she eventually would pass. And so Bryanne agreed to the tattoo still because it still was a symbol of the fight, like the health fight and the hospital fight. But yeah, none of us knew that it would be that quick, not even my husband, actually. So, yeah.
Wow. I mean, first of all, like I love the symbolism of the heartbeat at the beginning and then the three sister mountains for the peaks and the valleys and that there are three sisters. And then, how you and your older sister? Are you the middle?
I'm the eldest.
Oh,
Tara's the
you and the middle sister, Tara,
Tara. Yeah.
were together with her, till the end. And I think that's the symbolism, like the fact that you're working on a book, you're in a creative flow space with your book, and that idea dropped in is
Mhm.
just so beautiful. And it was maybe like not foreshadowing, but the idea, the fact that like it came to you and that Bryanne agreed,
Yeah. Yeah. She agreed.
right?
And it came because I knew the title of my book from when I first started writing it, and it's the original reason for it transformed and grew over time. So the original reason was because it was the song of my ex and mine, my abusive ex and mine. It's about intimate partner violence. And so that was what it started being. And as I wrote, I came to be like, no, I'm taking ownership back of this song. And not the song, but like the title, I should say. And it really became about the no ordinary love of my family. Through that experience for me, but also the reason why I got down to business and sat my butt in a chair and finished writing my book when I did was because I knew my sister was dying. And I desperately, desperately wanted to have her read it because I wrote it for my family as an explanation and as an apology and all the things. And so as I wrote this book, I was like, no, the title is not for our song. I mean, technically it is, but the title is about the no ordinary love of my family. And then, I mean, it's even changed from that to also be the no ordinary love I have for myself throughout all of this. And so, it was kind of reframing and reclaiming that title that gave me the idea about like, no, my family is amazing. We've been through the highs, we've been through the lows. We were there at the beginning. Tara and I were literally with Bryanne as she passed, the only ones with her while she passed. And yeah, so yeah.
I think that's beautiful. And, the fact that did Bryanne get to read the book?
Mm-mm. No.
I'm
But I wanted her to read parts of it because it was really important to me. And she, as I told you, didn't believe that she was going to die. And she said, no, I want to read it all at the same time. And when she was hospitalized, it was not even 36 hours from the time she went into the hospital until she died. And I mean, that was a blessing in itself that she didn't suffer longer. But even that night, I was typing away and I said, I just want to read you like a couple little parts. And she said, just get it done. It'll never be too late. And I took that now anyway to mean that like I think she has absorbed it. I believe that she's with me all the time and she has absorbed it and she knows and she's proud and all the things, but she didn't in her physical, earthly human body get to read it.
She is proud of you.
Mhm.
She's proud of you.
Like your tattoo.
Yeah, like my tattoo. Tell me more. Tell us more about Bryanne. What was she like?
Oh, she was little spit and vinegar. She, none of us look anything like the others, actually. We're all very different looking, but she was blonde hair, blue eyes. She came out a fighter, quite literally fighting for her life. And she just like, she just marched to the beat of her own drum. She had big dreams and like nobody ever doubted her, and she had lots of things stacked against her because of how she started her life and some challenges like, through school and whatever else. And she never let anything hold her back. Like she had dreams and she achieved them and she went for it. She was a teacher. She was adamant that she was going to be a kindergarten teacher, not just any grade, not like lower years, like kindergarten, that or nothing.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, Bryanne, like maybe you should start somewhere else. Maybe you can. Nope, that's what she was going to do. And so she struggled for a bit because I don't know how it is in the rest of our country or the States at all, but it's really hard to get in and get permanent jobs. And then on top of that, to have the exact grade that you want. And so she not only was adamant that she was going to be a kindergarten teacher, but she was adamant that she would not move out of the city that she lived in. And it was like, lots of teachers, just like social workers or pilots or police officers, they actually move into more rural or remote locations because then they can get the experience, go back to where you want to work and get a job. And Bryanne was like, no, I'm not leaving here. I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it here. And anyway, she ended up sticking it out. And that was the thing about her. She was like slow and steady wins the race kind of a person and just full of so much drive and determination and grit. And so she made those things come true. And yeah, got her dream job.
Amazing. And I mean, like that perseverance, right?
Yeah.
And it's almost like she came into the world as a fighter
Yeah.
and she fought till the end.
Absolutely.
Wow. I think that's such a beautiful tattoo. Is Tara's tattoo in the same spot?
Yeah, exactly the same spot. Yeah, and it sucks because for the book, and you know this because I reached out to you, I'm like, how
Yeah.
many pictures are we allowed? And you're like, one. I'm like, oh no, I need three. I can't do one. And I
Yeah.
really wanted it to be with Tara because that's kind of the whole point. But she lives on the other side of the country. And actually, she was in Albania during the time period that we had to figure this
Yeah.
out and get it in. And so unfortunately, it's just going to be me. But I sent you some pictures the other day. So I've kind of figured out a way that, yeah,
Yes.
that it's going to work. And
And
so,
and don't worry, because like on social media, we can share as much as we want. And that's, we have a little bit more freedom than a printed photo or, a photo on a billboard.
I
And I think it's cool
know.
that you get to have this tattoo that honors your sisters, your two younger sisters, on this billboard in Times Square. And I think it's amazing. Like, you said you have a couple tattoos. Tara maybe has a few more, and like Brandon have any.
Mhm.
What was your first tattoo?
Oh, my first tattoo was of I always referred to it as a gargoyle. Yeah, I think it was supposed to be like a gargoyle butterfly, but it kind of like it was black, so it kind of looked like a gargoyle moth, really. And it was, in that famous spot from the early 2000s where the ladies used to get them. And what's interesting about that tattoo, and actually what I was going to do for your book, I was going to write a story about that tattoo that I never got because my
Mm.
abusive ex that I wrote the book about, my experience, he was a tattoo artist. And so I never got one from him, thank goodness. So I was going to write a story about that and how I was resilient through that experience. But you convinced me that maybe the story about my sister and this tattoo was a better one. Um, so that was my first tattoo. I did not get it from him. I got it before I met him. But my husband, I've never actually asked him this. I'm going to have to try to remember. But my husband actually asked me, he's like, before we were married, he's like, if I were to pay for you to have that removed, would you get it removed? And I'm like, okay. And
Hmm.
so I did. And I actually think that he thought maybe my that ex did it, but he didn't. But anyway, it's gone. But it symbolized for me the what it took for me to become the person that I was and kind of the changing over time and the growth that it took. So anyway, it's gone now. So my first one's gone.
I love that.
And then I've got the Three Sisters ones, and I've got a starfish one, which just has to do with my work, the whole starfish story, and making a difference to
What's the
people.
starfish story?
Oh, really? Oh,
I have no
it's
idea. Let's story
really
time with
okay.
BB.
Yeah, here's the starfish story. So it goes something like this. It says an old man was walking down the beach and he saw a little boy kind of running back and forth. And when he approached him, he said, "What are you doing?" And the little boy said, "I'm saving the starfish." And the man said, "There's hundreds of miles of shore and there are thousands of starfish. You can't possibly make a difference." And the little boy picked up a starfish and he tossed it into the water and he said, "I made a difference to that one." And so when I graduated with my first, well, I guess technically it was my second undergraduate degree in social work, I decided to get a starfish on my wrist to remind myself that obviously you want to make as big of a difference as possible. But at the end of the day, even if you make a difference to one person, then it counts.
I love that story.
Yeah.
I have never heard that. That's such a beautiful story. You know, you're on this journey of life. You've written this book, this tattoo. You've shared, one of your stories with our community. What's next for you?
Well, I have a book that I'm racing against time to have it done by the time your Skin Deep book is done because
Our
I
Skin Deep book.
our Skin Deep book is done. Yes. I wrote it. It's a tribute to my sister, and it's essentially me putting into practice the advice that I give in the story I wrote for Skin Deep, but also just in my world. I'm a therapist. And so it's me putting that into practice and showing the reader like how I do it, how I show up, and how I reframe my grief to see it as times that I am connecting with my sister and meeting with her, and that I'm never actually alone in it. She's there with me. And the more upset I get, or the more tears I have, or the more I'm feeling it, it's just the more present that she is. I just can't see her, but I can feel her.
I love that. And that's so true. Like I feel those who are no longer with us. Like I could feel their energy and sometimes I can tell if it's, my mom or, my dad. I feel my mom a lot more and they send me signs and when I really sit in stillness and meditate or ask for something or just share what I'm going through, I feel like I could really feel them and it's a gift that you can do that too, right? Feel them.
Yeah, totally.
Um, what does being resilient AF mean to you?
Oh, it means the ability to sit with it, like whatever it is. So for my story, for our book, I wrote about grief, but it's really for anything, and it's being able to stick with it, sit in it, feel it, and work through it because you can't just stuff this stuff down. You can't put your head in the sand and plug your ears and close your eyes. Like that's not how this resolves or feels better. It feels better through sitting in it. And yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I would say.
You have to feel in order to heal. And yeah, I think that's a beautiful definition. Do you have any more tattoos that you want to get?
Um, no, not off the top of my head. And I mean, part of it is that I'm a really symmetrical person. So I'm like, well, I have one on this side and one on this side and what
Yeah.
like so no, no, not that I'm not opposed to it, but I would have to like, be hit with another good idea, which
Yeah.
can always happen.
Yeah. Maybe it's the Statue of Liberty in New York.
Yeah, maybe. Well, one thing I need to figure out first. So I have this issue where, for whatever reason, I decided I didn't love the idea of like black ink on me.
Yeah.
Um, and so I got all of my tattoos I've had done in brown. But I learned the hard way after many years that brown does not hold as well. And it kind
Mm.
of like comes apart. And for this one, for example, for the lines, like I had
Yeah.
to have it redone. It just kind of like it doesn't stay the way that black does. So unless I agreed to have all of my tattoos redone in black, I don't think I would get another one because I have done some pretty serious damage to my body by having them redone so many times.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
we'll see.
I think there's something also like really special about a faded tattoo. Like I have some tattoos that are like in spots where they bled a little because I was young and didn't care, didn't take care of them, maybe didn't heal properly. And I think like it's okay to have a faded tattoo. Like I think there's a story behind it. So there's nothing wrong with it not being super crisp anymore because there is that story behind it. And I think it's cool that they're all in brown. Like mine are in every color.
I like that too because they kind of look like henna and people aren't sure like is that
Yeah.
real? Is it not? Is it henna? Is it not? And I like that about it.
Amazing. Is there anything else you want to share?
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, Gertie's here. If she would come out, you could see her, but she's
Uh,
hiding behind the
One of your
computer.
other naked cats just ran behind
Oh,
you.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised. Oh, here she comes. Oh,
Oh, we love a cat person.
here we are.
Gah! Oh, R-rated.
Yeah, okay.
So,
You can't see, but she's got two different color eyes. She's got David Bowie eyes. She's got a green and a blue.
I love it. That's so cool. I'm such a cat person.
I know, I like Teddy.
Oh my gosh, Teddy,
He's
the
so
adventure cat. Okay, so one final question before we wrap up.
yeah.
I know you've gone through a lot, but let's focus on the tattoo and the symbolism of the three sisters and losing your sister. What advice do you have for someone who's going through something similar? So maybe they have a sibling who is ill and you're talking about doing something together. What advice do you have for that person?
That's a really great question, and I could take it in so many different ways. But what the first thing that came to my head was obviously be there in whatever way you can. Like I quite literally, and I come from a place of privilege to even have been able to do what I did. I understand that, but like my life, my world stopped. I didn't care about work. Like obviously I had bills. I had to care to a degree, but like I spent all the time that I could have with my sister because I knew that I had to make it count. But what I wanted to mention or highlight is that Tara and I had very different ideas of what we wanted to do with Bryanne. I mean, ideally, we would like to have traveled all over with her and done all the things she wanted to do and like bucket list type things, which I think a lot of people think about. Bryanne didn't want that. I mean, in part, it was because she had so many treatments and whatever else, but in part, she just wanted to be. You know, she wanted to like watch TV with us or be in the same physical space as us, but not necessarily do anything. And that was really tricky for Tara and I to wrap our heads around because we wanted her to like soak up every last minute that she had on this planet by doing all the things that she wouldn't be able to do. And we really had to like be like, no, this is what she wants. We had to respect what she wanted, and we just had to show up and sit with her in it, as uncomfortable as that was. So I don't know if that really exactly answered your question.
It was great.
Advice? Okay.
Yeah, it was great. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here with us and for sharing your story and your beautiful tattoo. And to everyone tuning in for this episode, thank you for sharing your precious time with us. And, you could read more about BB and the other stories in Resilient AF Skin Deep Stories, comes out early December 2025. And just remember, you don't have to go through the hard stuff alone. You are not alone. Let us, our community, be that lighthouse in the storm. Let us hold your hand and walk through it together. Because, friends, just remember, you are resilient AF. Thank you. That's a wrap for another episode of Resilient AF with Blair and Alana. And thank you for listening. Are you feeling inspired to bounce forward?
Let's connect at theglobalresilienceproject.com, where you can read many stories of resilience, buy our books, shop our clothing line, learn more about how to strengthen your resilience muscle, be empowered, and more.
Remember, friends, you are resilient AF.